Now I am going to talk about three types of cloud computing services. Number one, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, software as a service. In infrastructure as a service, the cloud service provider provides leased IT infrastructure such as servers, virtual machines, network, storage, and so on to the customers. We can think infrastructure as a service as a domain for system administrators because infrastructure as a service allows customers to migrate their hardware to the cloud. In infrastructure as a service, the customers must install all the software, including both operating systems and applications. In platform as a service, the cloud service provider provides all leased IT infrastructure plus operating systems. In this model, the customer develops all the software applications. So we can think platform as a service as a domain for software developers because the customer is responsible for developing all software applications. In software as a service, the cloud service provider provides all the leased IT infrastructure, operating systems, and all the software applications. So we can think software as a service as a domain for end users or business clients. Responsibility matrix between cloud service providers and customers. In all three types of cloud computing services, cloud service provider, that is vendor, is responsible for these items such as data center and its physical security, servers, networking, storage, virtualization, that is hypervisors. The customer is not responsible for these items. So in this table, there are some items mentioned here like application, middleware, operating system, runtime, database, and data, identity and access management, client and endpoints. So now we will discuss who is responsible, whether cloud service provider or customer. It is different in different types of cloud computing services. In case of applications, customer is responsible for applications in case of infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. But in software as a service, vendor is responsible for applications. So in case of middleware and operating system, right, for these two items, customer is responsible in case of infrastructure as a service. But in case of platform as a service and software as a service, vendor is responsible for middleware and operating system. In case of runtime, in case of infrastructure as a service, customer is responsible for runtime. And in case of platform as a service or software as a service, vendor is responsible for runtime. Now there are two items, database and data. So in case of database, customer is responsible for database in case of infrastructure as a service and platform as a service. In case of software as a service, vendor is responsible for database. And in case of data, customer is responsible in all three types of cloud computing services, whether it is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, or software as a service. For these two items, identity and access management, IAM, client and endpoint, customer is responsible for these two items in all three types of cloud computing services. That is infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service.